again, like, I could talk about the bass, but it's death metal, so no one can hear that. But vocally wise, I've, I don't just do, say, deeps. I notice a lot of bands like do deeps and very monotone ones, whereas I've got deeps, highs, yelling, kind of Glenn Benton, Dave Vincent, mid-range, sort of like powerful death metal vocal, inhales, giggling, the whole fucking bit. So I think a lot of metal bands, like, they just don't vary it up that much. And we do, not because we're trying to or anything. It's just like what we've always been interested in. Berserker way back in the day was always dual vocals with, like, if we could think of anything that sounded like harsh or gibbering or weird or insane, like that went in, no matter what it was. And it's just kind of like kept, I guess, that ethos till now. It's crazy whenever I see a band like that, just it's from start to finish is like, it's just from go to wow, I'm like, oh, that would be so good. Maybe we should just do an album of that one time.
Do you know what's hilarious about what you just did is there must be like a noise cancelling something or other on your headset, because that came out as pure nothing. I didn't hear a sound just then.
Oh, let's see if I can irony. Do it again. Any those bands which like are just from like a from go to woe.
Yeah.
That's I'm like, that'd be great.
Metal vocals are insanely hard though, and I think that's something that people that outside of the genre just cannot appreciate. So I think a lot of vocalists fall into this category of, okay, I've worked out how to do this one style, and it can be really intimidating to try another style and sound like you stubbed your toe or something like that. I know personally, like I've spent a lot of the last few years trying to develop harsh vocals, and just like I have such an appreciation for how difficult it can be. With yourself, did you just like commit to making a bunch of stupid noises and just lean into that, and is that how you developed your style? Or because like
oh god,
Tell me, Master. Tell me how you do it.
Shit. I wish there was like a really... I'll try and keep this under a minute.
Sure.
This actually reminds me, like, when I was on tour with Archspire, and we're all like in a big airport queue one time, and like I was next to Ollie, and I was like, "All right, Ollie, tell me how you do what you do in under 30 seconds. Go." And he was like, skip, breathe. That's 30 seconds. Okay. So it is one of those very stupid, simple sounding things that, can take just a lifetime of refining. I first tried it, like back at high school, year 12, when I'd heard Morbid Angel. I was just like, and then I sort of like saw them live, and I was like, I want to be that.
Yeah.
And would just try it and try doing it. And I sort of like, I guess, within a couple of years, found my way to it. And a bit of that was maybe singing along at gigs, like just in the crowd, kind of stuff. So there wasn't, I'd like to say that there was a particular technique or teacher or something. But no, it was just like trying different things and finally getting there, and reading like what I could, like very occasionally, because, like I got into it around 91, 92. So, occasionally someone would drop in an interview, like, what to do with the voice. And I'd hoard those like gold nuggets. And then just, I guess, over the years, I've got it. And by the time, I think one of the big changes to metal vocals was when Melissa Cross came out with the Xena Screaming DVD. And
when people started seeing it as an actual like form of singing, and not just like, oh, you're ruining your voice or you're making noise.
Yeah, and then now you've got things like, the YouTube channel, The Charismatic Voice, where like, I think she did some work with Will Ramos from Lorna Shore.
Yeah,
showing my age. And they actually got like a camera down his throat, like to see what the vocal folds would do.
Yeah, that's gnarly, that video.
Yeah. So the funny thing was, like, I'd had something similar a few years before, like, so back around 2015, 15 or 16, I was starting to lose my voice. And then I quite often couldn't talk.
Hmm.
And it looked like I wasn't going to be able to do any more metal vocals. Like, it was really strange. I could like do a vocal session in the studio,
Hmm.
and then barely be able to speak for like a week or two. And I'd
Yeah.
seen a guy, like, I'm living in Adelaide now, but at the time I was in Melbourne. I went and saw a specialist there, some very experienced cunt in Toorak. And he was like, oh, vocal nodules, you've ruined your voice. You never do vocals again. You need to go see a voice trainer and do voice exercises, kind of thing.
Wow, that would have been
And
a hard thing to hear.
yeah, I didn't enjoy hearing that one.
Yeah.
And so I went and I did vocal exercises, and I really like when I, do something, I tend to like go hard at it. So I was always doing my voice exercises and keeping it moist and inhalers and hot steam and
Hmm.
yada yada, and didn't improve at all. And then a couple of years later, I moved back to Adelaide, and I went and saw another ear, nose, throat guy, an actual good one, who said, just got a little wart on the vocal cords. We can just like cut that off. And he got the camera up the nose, down the throat, and
Yeah.
he was like, make some sounds for me. And I sort of was like, and we could watch on a screen the vocal folds like sort of
Yeah.
moving in real time. And I was like, can I see what happens when I do my metal vocal? Because of course the first thing I said to him was like, I've been told these are nodules from doing metal vocals. And he was immediately like, no, they're fucking not. So yeah, just I did the vocals with it, with the camera down there, and saw how it moved, and it was very interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
cool.
but after that, like, and after I got the wart removed, my voice came back. Then I guess I had a good regime of like, I guess, voice exercises and voice stretches to do. I'm not one of those fuckwits that stands behind, like, in the backstage, like having to go do scales going la 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 la, just, to prep myself to go blah, blah, like,
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I'll do a few little things, and also I know the importance of a good, nice, warm, hot cup of tea
Hmm.
before you go on stage. Like, if you can drink tea all day, then the vocal performance you can come out with will be the best that you ever have in your life.
What's your tea of
Yeah.
choice?
Oh, look, I tend to go with whatever they've got. I like a green tea, just something plain. But quite often, if I'm about to do a show and they've got like a lemon and ginger tea bag,
I'm a lemon and
yeah,
ginger girl too.
yeah, there's something about that says, I'm going to look after you once you've finished yelling at all these people. I'm going to bring your voice back. It's all going to be okay.
No, that's you back it up after the set with a chamomile. That's what's
So
good
no,
for vocals.
once I climb off stage, then it's like, and then I'm having to like, now I'm getting into the booze. No, just so that was, yeah, quite a longer explanation than I was aiming for, but yeah, that's pretty much how I got there. I think the problem with a lot of guys these days is they're finding their way to vocals via, I guess, modern metal, and starting with Melissa Cross. So
Mm.
everyone very much sounds the same.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, again, I'm sort of like, I guess I'm now one of those dickheads who's like, oh, things are better in my day. But when I was growing up, like, I could sit down and listen to the radio and listen to all the metal bands. And Dave Vincent sounded different to Carl Willits, who sounded different to Jeff Walker, who sounded different to Ben, who sounded different to the singer of like Condemned, who sounded different
Yeah.
to like Truck, who definitely all sounded different to John Tardy. Like, everyone had their own sort of thing going
Yeah,
on,
yeah, for
and it
sure.
wasn't just the voice, but it was also the phrasing and like how much vocals they did in the song, or like what rhythms they used. So
Yeah.
it's just I think these days it sounds very monochromatic. Like, everyone uses the same rhythms and the same kind of voice. Like, they'll either do like that angry mid-pitch Melissa Cross voice, or they'll do a super deep like deathcore voice, and they're fucking brilliant. Like, but it's everyone doing it. So
Yeah.
I think there's something to it. Like, there is occasionally one stuff that comes out where I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that's good, I like that. But yeah, it's harder and harder to find.
Few and
Like
far
it's not,
between.
yeah, it's not just like sort of sitting there, listening to the radio and just, again, I got spoiled rotten. I mean, 92, getting into death metal, then listening to the radio, things like 3 Hours of Power, Helen Razor, and then Costa
Mm.
Zulio. And oh, shit, just, you were getting brilliance just rained on you non-stop. And, you know, I don't think my head's less like open to music than it was then, but definitely like, I can't tell the difference between a lot of bands these days anymore.